Today, in Section D of Part 1 of Vigyan Bhairav Granth, we will discuss the shloka on the expression of Bhairav Swarup through the subtlety of prana upon vayu. So let's take a moment to transcend the ordinary boundaries of the mind. We're entering a truly sacred space here, a space where Goddess Shakti is deeply seeking the ultimate reality, and the Supreme Lord Shiva is about to reveal that the entire universe is actually hidden right within us. Listen closely to this eternal transmission from verse 24. It goes, O Priya, Urdhva, which is the upward movement, is prana, and Adha, the downward movement, is apana. This spandana expresses Bhairav. Now, this isn't just beautiful poetry. What we're looking at here is quite literally the ultimate blueprint of your own life force. To really grasp this truth, we need to step inside this divine dialogue. The goddess, Parashakti, is asking a profound question. How can one actually realize that formless state that exists completely beyond our worldly divisions? And Shiva's response is incredible. He doesn't point her up to the stars, and he doesn't prescribe some complex, impossible ritual. Instead, he points directly to the most intimate secret of your existence, the very breath you're taking right at this second. Let's break down the profound mechanics of how this works. You have Urdhva, which is that outward, upward-flowing life force that originates right in your heart. That's your prana. Then you have Adha, the downward, inward-flowing force that returns to the heart. That's your apana. The supreme consciousness we're talking about, it's perfectly woven into the continuous, flowing fabric of this exact cycle. Try directing your inward gaze to the center of your chest for a moment. This heart center is the absolute origin point. And we aren't just talking about the physical oxygen filling your lungs here. We're talking about vital energy, your vayu traveling through these incredibly subtle pathways, essentially sustaining the whole illusion of your mortal existence. It's like witnessing a cosmic mirror right inside yourself. Prana flows out, apana flows in. In this tantric vision, your outgoing breath is literally the creation and expansion of the universe itself. And the incoming breath, that's its dissolution. So with every single inhalation and exhalation, you are seamlessly enacting the eternal cosmic cycle. But where exactly does this outgoing force go before it inevitably turns back? Well, it merges into what is known as the Dwadashant. This is a highly sacred, invisible boundary that sits exactly 12 finger breaths right outside your physical body. In this precise outer void, for just a tiny fraction of a second, the pranavayu dissolves into complete nothingness, just before the returning apanavayu is born. And herein lies the ultimate tantric secret, this continuous, rhythmic flow between your heart and the Dwadashant. That is Paradevi. It's the supreme goddess herself manifesting right inside you as a perpetual vibration and eternal spandana. Your breathing isn't just a physical action, it's the active, pulsating energy of Parashakti constantly anchoring you to the divine. Now this rhythm naturally gives birth to something called kumbhaka, but forget about the forced breath holding you might know from physical yoga. We're talking about a completely spontaneous, breathless void. It arises completely naturally at the exact culmination of your exhalation at the Dwadashant, and again at the exact culmination of your inhalation at the heart. It's a microscopic, thought-free silence that you experience thousands of times a day, completely unnoticed. This brings us to the really profound truth found in verse 25. The air inside and outside the space, by not deviating from it, reveals the Bhairav element. What this means is that if your awareness can simply rest in these two specific voids, the inner silence of the heart and that outer stillness of the Dwadashant, the absolute pure consciousness of Bhairav is instantly revealed to you. In that microscopic fraction of a moment, that spontaneous kumbhaka we just talked about, when prana has set and apana hasn't quite risen yet, your human consciousness completely transforms. The mind naturally drops into nirvikalpa. That's a state totally devoid of thought, imagination, or ego. In this tiny gap of absolute stillness, your pure non-dual Bhairav Swarup just naturally awakens. And then verse 26 hands us the final key, entering the Majjanati. When your awareness stops clinging to the outward world and stops forcing an inward retreat, it instead hangs perfectly suspended in that central gap between the voids. It enters the central channel of ultimate peace. You become totally centered in the divine, completely untouched by the turbulent currents of everyday existence. So how do we actually practice this? Well, let's turn this very moment into an active meditation. First, just silently observe your prana moving outward from the heart. Second, as that breath naturally ends, let your awareness rest in the outer emptiness of the Dwadashant. Third, simply observe the Apana, drawing back inward. And finally, rest completely in the inner void of the heart, just before the cycle naturally begins all over again. You see, the ultimate truth isn't hidden away in some distant, unreachable dimension. It's been patiently waiting right there, in the quiet rhythm of your own body, since the moment you were born. So I want you to ask yourself, are you prepared to discover the supreme universe resting in the silent gap of your very next breath?